In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to do slides 1 and 2 of the final presentation PowerPoint, which will be turned into a YouTube video. First, go to my website, click on the teaching button, and then open up the template of the YouTube final presentation. Now, I'm going to pretend that I'm a student in this class, and I'm going to change the name to Hal Snar, and maybe I'm a sophomore economics major, and then I need to know what my variable to be analyzed is. I get this from the cleaned up data that is available on my website. So to find that, you click on rent.com spreadsheet for the final presentation. And here it is. This is the final data for the final presentation. So I'm going to scroll to the bottom where the summary statistics are, where the mean, the variance, the min, the max, the correlation, yada, yada, yada are. Okay, down here it says assigned to Monday, Wednesday student, assigned to Tuesday, Thursday student. So I'm going to go over until I see my name, and I put it in red so it's easily noticeable. Okay, so if I'm a student in the Monday, Wednesday class, my job is to analyze the monthly rent. Everybody in both sections has to analyze monthly rent and one other variable. Well, my other variable is washer and dryer in unit. I have to change number of bedrooms, the variable that's kind of like the default for the template for the YouTube presentation. I need to change that to my variable. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the stuff in blue italicized font and write washer and dryer. Is the washer and dryer a significant predictor of monthly rent in the multiple regression model we estimated in class? So that's slide 1. Slide 2 is where we summarize monthly rent and the variable that we've been given. So I'm going to change this here to washer and dryer. Now remember, in class I said these values were simulated, so I'm going to delete them. And this down here is the scatter plot of the variables I have to analyze for the multiple regression analysis final presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that, but I need to have monthly rent on the vertical axis and washer and dryer on the horizontal axis. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Then I'm going to go back to Excel. Okay, I'm going to go back to Excel and get my two variables. Everybody has to analyze monthly rent. In addition to the monthly rent that everybody has to analyze, we all been given an additional variable. My additional variable is washer and dryer included. I'm going to hold down the shift button and move across until I get to washer and dryer in unit. I'm going to copy, Control C copy, and then I'm going to paste that into a new sheet. Okay, so I only need monthly rent and washer and dryer units. So I'm going to delete this stuff in between. Spread that out a little bit. Make it look a little more presentable. Maybe delete the units on top. And then I have monthly rent and washer and dryer unit. And then I have the descriptive statistics. This is the mean, the variance, the minimum, the maximum, and the correlation. Maybe shrink the number of decimals down to maybe 3 or 4. I'll go 2. So the average rent for our apartments is $990.76. There are 0.63 rentals in Salt Lake that include washer and dryers. The variance of monthly rent is $58,000 squared. The variance of washer and dryers in unit, 0.23. The minimum rent for Salt Lake City area apartments is $599. The maximum is almost $1,700. The only observations that are allowed for a dummy variable is 0 for no and 1 for yes. And the correlation between washer and dryer unit and monthly rent is 0.2. It's not very high. I'll go ahead and delete this part here. And it looks like I lost the formatting of what I was supposed to do in slide 3. So let me go back there and get that. Okay, I'm going to copy this right here. This is what I'm supposed to do in slide 3 of the final presentation. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to freeze the window. Freeze the pane. So I can scroll and look at all the observations. It makes it a little easier. So freeze pane is kind of a nice little function in Excel. Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint and find out what we need to do. I need mean, the standard deviation, the minimum, the maximum, and the correlation horizontally for monthly rent and a washer and dryer. So it's kind of easy to do actually. I'm going to go ahead and just rotate this. I'm going to copy and then I'm going to transpose. So if you click on that thing right there, transpose, you get something that can be copied and pasted into the template. I'll change these words here so they're italicized and in blue font. Maybe bold them. Change W/D to washer, dryer, in unit. Snap a little bit right there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to paste that right into PowerPoint. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. And I'm going to right click, picture, and I can blow it up a little bit. Okay, there is our descriptive statistics for the variables that we have to describe. The mean monthly rent, 990.76. Standard deviation is 241.06. The minimum is $599. The maximum $16.99. The correlation between my variable and monthly rent is 0.2. 63% of units in the Salt Lake metro area include washer and dryers. One thing to note here is that everybody in the class should have the same first row. Everybody in class should have 990.76, 241.06, 599, and 1699, and then nothing here. These numbers will all change because all of you guys have a different X variable to analyze with monthly rent. Now the next thing we need is a scatter plot, and we can do that in Excel. So I'm going to scroll up here, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight the data, all 123 rows. I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to click Choose Scatter, the one without any lines. Now the problem with this scatter plot is that the rent is down here, and rent is our Y variable, and the Y variable goes on the vertical axis. Our independent variable here is an x variable. So I need to rotate the axes. It's actually kind of easy to do in Excel. Let me move this over here. If I just click on a data point, if you guys said, if I click on a data point, this pops up. What I want to do is I want to change B to C and C to B. And then it's going to rotate the chart. Kind of cool, isn't it? So now I have apartments in Metro Salt Lake City with washer and dryers, because the washer and dryer dummy variable is equal to 1 when a washer and dryer is included. And then I have the apartments in the Salt Lake City metro area that do not include washer and dryers. Now I need to format this chart so that maybe 1 is the maximum value here. So I'm going to change the maximum to 1, and the minimum can stay at 0. And then I'm going to click on a number on the y-axis, and I'm going to change the maximum. Looks good. The minimum can probably be reduced to maybe 400, so I can see the relationship a little better. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the grid marks by the grid lines by just clicking on one and then hitting delete. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to kind of clean this chart up a little bit more. I want to go to layout or design, and where is it at? Layout. Oh, I'm going to add the axis titles. The primary horizontal axis title is washer and dryer included. And then I'm going to include a vertical axis title. I like to rotate the title. And this is just monthly rent. And then maybe move this a little bit here. Move that here, and then I can pull that over there. Maybe I want to increase the font. I'll increase the font to 12. Increase that font to 12. So it looks nice and sharp. The next thing I want to do is I want to right-click on a data point, add a trend line. Linear is fine. And then display the R-square and display the equation on the chart. Okay. Now, the cool thing about the R-square in a scatter plot like this is that the R-square here is equal to the correlation squared. So if I go down here and I type R square, and I hit equal, and I type up to 0.2, and then I use Shift 6 to give me the caret symbol, which means raised to the second power. The R square I calculate down here is the same as the R square that the chart calculated. Now, this chart is an example of simple regression, but the output of that simple regression is very limited. You only get the equation and the R square. If I did a simple regression, I could get R-square, I could get the standard errors of the coefficients, I could get a lot of stuff. I get the F statistic, etc., etc. But in simple regression, doing a chart like this, you only get the R-square in the equation. Now, we need to keep in mind that this is the rent. I'm going to call it rent. And this over here is washer and dryer included, so I'll call it WD in included. Okay, so the variable, the X variable here is washer and dryer included. And the Y variable here is the rent. Okay, so when washer and dryer is not included, that's 0. 0 times the slope is 0, and 0 plus the intercept is the intercept. This value right here is the value of the intercept. So the way you can think about this is the average of these heights is the intercept, 927.21. So the average rent for apartments that do not include washer and dryer is this value, which is 927.21. So if you are a landlord and you are not including a washer and dryer, we expect the rent to go for $927 a month. However, if you decide to include a washer and dryer in your condo or rental, then this would be 1, and 1 times that slope coefficient is 101.52. 101.52 and 927 is roughly 1,028, which is why this line here, which is why this is a little higher than this down here. So by including a washer and dryer, you can raise the rent by $101.52 per month, which is kind of cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I'm going to copy the chart into PowerPoint. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to alter the third slide of the template for the YouTube presentation.